all, welcome to another electrifying episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, coming to you live from the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado, joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stallcup, over there working his tail off, getting all kinds of new graphics up in the new intro. Looked really awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was pretty sweet, and I love how you're like saying it's good to be the king over there in Big Sky Country, Texas. And giving all hook 'em horns from the Mile High City. Appreciate you, King James, putting together the show, and it's always a lot of fun. Just letting Rhino know it's pretty funny. I guarantee he's trying to get the fantasy together, and he's trying to get me in on his fantasy league. So I messaged him over there on Instagram, Rhino. And make sure you go over and subscribe to the Rising Rhino channel, as well as our own channel, the Electrical Code Education channel, and you'll get the link right up in here. So that's pretty awesome. The way you put it together, James, it's pretty solid, man. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it took me. It's interesting. Of course, I didn't draw all those pictures, but one of the things that is very interesting when you're doing these things, I've sort of learned a lot about it, but you have to teach AI, and like a lot of these, y'all seen some of those figures in there, the skeleton looking with the electric on it and all that. I had those beforehand, and I basically uploaded in as an image, and it'd probably take me, some of them take me 7-8 tries, add this, do this, and you just had to keep working on it. And
right,
I've finally, I made a bunch of mistakes too, trying to figure out how to make it work. But once I sort of figured it out, man, it just started coming on. I was like, shit, man, this is cool. I was like, I sort of like some of the ways it was doing it. I got you a new one for the Willie Quiz, and I did one, the Wall of Shame, and then I did the King James versus AI, and the Wall of Shame was actually, I thought was pretty cool the way it did it, because I was like, well, just take some pictures, put them on there that are, disgusting that you see electrical installations, and it built one. I said, no, let's do more. Let's make like 6 of them on here, and I was telling it where to place things, do this, you got to have a little bit of imagination,
Oh yeah.
When you're looking,
and
just I've been do everything.
I've been doing that with my music, and I got that Suno Pro Studio, and it was really funny. I came home, I was on like a 65 hour week. I was burnt, and I just came home, and I needed to do my podcast, and I usually do it on Saturday, but I was working, so I knew that it was going to be hard for me to get set up. So I just sat down with my 12-string. I didn't even have time to plug it into an amp or anything.
Yep.
And I just strummed 4 chords into my mic, and then I went to bed. And next day I got off work, Saturday, came home, and I was beat. I was done. And I just put that recording into AI and just started doing the same thing like what you did. It probably took me like 500 tries to get it where I wanted it. But, eventually it went to like a pretty good song, So it does take some time. You kind of, like you're saying, you have to teach it. And I started getting to realize that I don't think AI has a whole bunch of sounds. Yeah. Like, you can't just have it put whatever in there unless somebody else has had that sound in there. And so I think that's why it's learning the new different sounds and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Sure. And the one thing you got to be with AI is you got to be specific. It's like I was telling Billy, we were talking about it last night. I said, he goes, I put something in. He goes, it freaking changed the whole thing. I'd already been built up. And I said, I've already learned that trick. I said, what you got to do is you tell it, don't change anything else And
True.
that happened to me over and I mean, that's how specific you got to be in telling it. Do not freaking change anything that you've done up to this point. And you have to do that after every command that you're working, building it down. And it really is pretty cool because
You noticed how I have that one where they start chanting USA in the end of my American Way song.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't. I wouldn't let me put that in there. I had to. Like actually record it and then put that in there and then upload it as a file and then master it like that because every time I go to remaster it, it would take that out. It thought it was like something unwanted,
I'll show something here in a little while. I'll do it after I do my topic of the week. But like I did this thing, and I'm going to do this after we get through all the code changes. We'll finish up chapter 4 tonight. But I'm going to start doing definitions. Well, I was doing the very first one, accessible, as applied to equipment. And you put the text in what it says, and it does a little bit, but it doesn't really give you what you need. You've got to command it, and this comes to where someone that actually knows the code and knows things that you're going to look for. So when I started looking at it, I started putting sections in that dealt with the clearance around equipment and the accessibility issues there. I got into dealing with the your boxes and stuff, the accessibility on them, putting sections in. Then I did panel boards. I did service disconnecting means, overcurrent protection devices, just sort of tied it all in. And I kept commanding. It took me probably 20 commands of different things I was asking it based on the information I was giving it. And I was even pulling some safety stuff over from 70E. This is what's nice. So basically what I was doing, I'm teaching AI. This is what I want you to know. And then I would put like our author's comments in there, design tips, things like that, things that normally.
Look who it is. He's coming for his revenge, coming to get his revenge from his loss last time.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked last week. But what is really interesting is when you can go in and you start commanding and putting prompts in there and telling AI exactly what it is you want to do, you'd be really shocked at how it starts taking and it sort of lays it out for you a little bit better. I mean, I'm pretty good at doing that stuff anyway, but I may say something, I'll go, no, I don't like the way you laid that out. And then I explain why. And I'll go through and tell it, and I do a big write-up. Then I'll say, don't change anything else. And then it go, oh, okay, I understand what you're asking now. So don't naturally just assume AI is right. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to know exactly what you're doing. And basically, it's like Bill and I, we've been doing a year and a half now that we've done 100 something questions, I guess. We've been doing a lot, probably 2 years, over 2 years.
It's like 150, 160 by now.
Yeah, we're over 2 years. But when we first started, AI didn't get nothing. Well, what is
it's happening? Because it didn't have like the updated code, and it didn't have like all the updated language and stuff. So it was still on 2020 and stuff like that. So
it was still missing the things that change. I mean,
some of them were like so wonky. Like, remember that one? It was like the answer was like 6 foot, and it said like 20 foot or something like that.
Well, I will tell you this: by the time I'm finished, my time dealing with AI is going to be very, very smart on the National Electrical Code and NFPA standards.
True.
And that's something that we've done all this.
We got some trash talking up in the chat here. He's picking the Giants out of the gate, man.
We shall see.
That is going to be a good game. I'm actually excited for it. One of the guys at my work is actually going to that game.
That'll be fun to go to.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how we, working with this and building these cool graphics and everything like that. It just makes it really, really nice. And so we're slowly but surely we're going to be adding things as we go through our time doing this. And I'm just now there, like I tried to get it to do an illustration. I put it in, but I didn't like it. You know what I mean? And there's some things it's done. I'm like, well, you gave some good information there, but I'm gonna go back and redo that. I don't like the way it looks because I'm very detailed, and it'll give you like some dimensions and stuff like that, but it doesn't break it down the way we do, and all that. And so,
well, we've had quite a few like AI pictures, illustrations in here from time to time on the myth of the week and stuff, and they came out decent, but it's just weird because it'll kind of go off on a tangent and it'll just kind of say a whole bunch of stuff that couldn't really be true and isn't really backed by the code. And to me, for the myth, like I don't really care because I'm not trying to say this is code or anything, and it's always almost always a false anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like, who cares if it's a false? You could put all kinds of wrong information in there.
Well, speaking of that, let's get started, and I'll show you the new intro to the meme of the week.
All right.
Then it'll have the picture.
Sounds good.
Set up just a little bit different.
All right. Yeah, that one's funny. I like that one.
Yeah, you open his eyes. Here it is. Why the hell can't you see that?
Exactly.
I remember one time. It's funny that you bring that up because right after I got out of high school, I worked downtown on one of the high rises, and I was down. I just first started. So what they basically had me doing, I was basically cleaning up crap. That's all I did really for about the first 2-3 months. And I remember one of the apprentices in the journeyman come down. I was right outside we had a trailer that they had shelving, everything set in, everything was set up, and it was actually kept really nice. And it was it wasn't a small trailer, it was a big trailer because we're on a big job, and they kept everything locked up, to keep people from stealing and all that.
Right.
That German come down, he walks that trailer with him, he goes, "What the hell is that right there?" And the guy said, "Oh, I didn't see that." He goes, "It's right at eye level." He goes, "What are you, stupid?" I never forgot that. I made damn sure if they told me go get something, I'd keep looking because I didn't want to come there to everybody seeing that.
There's some pretty funny ones where like the apprentice is like asking the journeyman like, "Hey, do we have any level fluid?" and he's like, "Oh yeah, just keep looking. It's in there somewhere,
Level fluid or finding a sky hook or a wire stretcher.
Oh yeah, that's always the funniest. But we have the
week, baby.
I know you myth of the week, Willie.
Mike, it's coming up, and you're really gonna like this week's, and we're gonna prove it to you. So,
yeah,
Jeremy, please, you got to be on here this week. Don't tell me you're not gonna be here during myth of the week. Here we go. New graphics.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
Yeah, you had to crack that little central time in there because we didn't want to hear the backlash. But
Jeremy crying.
But I really appreciate all participation we had, and this one's kind of interesting because you could possibly have this, and there is no plug on my Nat King code with that sticker in there, but like this is kind of interesting because if you call this like an individual branch circuit, and you say, okay, well, that's within 6 foot of a sink in a commercial location, I guess you could make the argument that you have to have two forms of GFCI. Like if you need to protect the receptacle within that location, but there's a lot of different outs here as far as not being required to have GFCI protection in the branch circuit. And so I think that came out kind of interesting. And then the other thing is that I kind of stumbled upon this when I did the 62554B debacle that got deleted and put back to the regular code text. And it was funny because I remember Thomas Dimitrovich saying, well, we can't delete B because then we'd have 625A and no B, But guess what? There's no A either. So I thought that was pretty funny how they deleted A and B and B1 and B2 and all the other crap they tried to put in. But it was really funny, and I thought it was a kind of a hilarious thing. But at the same time, this is really interesting. If let's just say this is has some integral personnel protection that is listed for that piece of equipment, and then that's code compliant, and you can just connect directly to the branch circuit. And so that's a kind of an interesting thing. Now, I thought there was a lot of really interesting comments saying that it's in commercial, it's within 6 feet of a sink, it's got to have GFCI protection. I think there's some possible ways of outs of this. I mean, if you have that integral personnel protection and you have that receptacle located inside that fountain and it's just on a standard thermal mag, I don't see a problem with it. So it's pretty interesting. Like I could see if it's I could see it needing to be GFCI if it's outside of that bottle filling station. But I don't know. It's just an interesting thing, and we kind of came up with some different things. I think you covered that code change last week.
Yeah.
And
one of the things I want to talk about here, and I want to go over here and I want to look at 210.8D to start this off. Okay.
Okay.
Now, everybody that watches this podcast or anybody happens to come over to it, I will take and I will have this. We got a new group, a Facebook group called Myth of the Week, and I will have just this segment on there so you can go and see it real quick.
Right.
Now, one of the things I want to point out, and this is from like Jeremy Weed and all them boys over at ECD, they have assured us that like an AC unit, a vending machine, you can do these bottle fill stations, and you come in and you go over there and you wire these in, that the outlet is located at that equipment. Yeah. That's the very first thing I want everybody to understand. Okay. Because that's what they try to tell you. I don't agree with that. So that portion I want to bring up, because when I get into this, I want you to understand that, because we're going to show you that the items that are going to be listed in 422.5A, they have integral protection. You don't need upstream GFCI protection at that point.
It does tell you in there that unless it's an area that is subject to requiring that receptacle to be GFCI protected. So,
yeah, but what if it's hardwired?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm getting into. Yeah.
And then there's no outlet, right? I mean, it's pretty.
I say there's no outlet, and that's where this argument's going to come in. Okay.
Right.
So when you look at 210.8D that deals with your specific appliances that they're talking about GFCI protection for personnel, they say here it shall be provided for the branch circuit or outlet. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to have a problem, because if it's hardwired, now they're going to say you need it for the branch circuit. Now, the reason I like to bring this up, because this is code making panel 2, and the people that you have on there, just like Thomas Dimitrovic said one time, we make all these devices and everything. If we don't put it in the code, nobody will use it.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is why I'm getting into this, to sort of lay this out so you understand where we're coming from with all this. So I'm saying if it's hardwired, there's no outlet. Okay.
Sure.
So the only other thing is a branch circuit. So that's what I want to point out here. And this says supplying the following appliances that are rated 150 volts or less to ground and 60 amps or less, single or 3-phase. So we're going to go down through this. And one of the things that you're going to find very interesting, you're going to see some of these items listed here in 422.5A, and the other item, there'll be items that are not listed. Okay?
So there's one of the things I've seen before is there's actually these bottle filling stations where the receptacle is like inside the equipment. And so you're saying, okay, well, there's an outlet inside the equipment, but if that has integral personnel protection, I don't see why you need to protect that branch circuit. Nothing's going to get plugged in but that individual equipment.
Yeah, and another thing I want to point out, because we did this is a little while back, Jeremy Kamara was mouthing off, and I showed where this language that you're seeing here, all these items that are listed here, it was gone. And then all of a sudden it just popped back up and it's back in the code. And I never saw any of it. So the reason I'm telling y'all that is because there's a rift that has grown between two code making panels at this point. Okay. So
yeah, and the funny part is the chair of CMP 17 is actually a member of code making panel 2.
Yeah, and
I don't understand that.
That's well, he's chairing that other code making panel, and the members on there are not agreeing with it. That's what's happening. So when you look at this, they have listed here your automotive vacuum machines, your drinking water coolers and bottle fill stations, high pressure spray washing machines, tire inflation machines, vending machines, sump pumps. And then this is where you start looking at all this rest that's here. You got dishwashers, electric rangers, wall mounted ovens, counter mounted cooking units, clothes dryers, and microwave ovens. Okay. None of this was listed here. All right. And then it went back in. Now, when I come over here and I look at 422.5A, you'll see everything listed up to dishwashers. After that, it's gone. Okay. Yeah. Now, what it says here, appliances that are identified right here, and this is the ones below in A1 through A7, and you'll see the same language here, 150 volts or less to ground and 60 amps or less, single or 3-phase, shall be provided with Class A protection for personnel. And then this is the sentence I want everybody to listen to. Multiple Class A protective devices shall be permitted, but shall not be required. I want you to pay attention. That is a very, very important statement right there. Okay. Then you look at all the items that are listed. And if you go back, you'll see you got all the way up to dishwashers, and then all these others here, the ranges, your ovens, cooking units, your clothes dryers, and microwave ovens, they're not listed there. Okay.
Sure. And see, this is where I was talking about that informational note where it says that GFCI protection for the branch circuit outlet, where the covered location warrants such protection. That's kind of interesting because I don't see why an inspector couldn't make the determination that's not a sink.
That's right.
You know,
and this is the one basically. Why ask yourself this? Why did they put the informational note in the first place? The reason is because they're telling you we cover the appliances. We don't have anything to do with that branch circuit. That's code making panel 2, and they're putting their little requirements over there. So they cover the branch circuit. We cover the appliances. That's basically what that informational note is for.
And that was that was the public input, or that was the first draft from 2026, wasn't it? When
Well,
they
they
made
made,
that state.
yeah, but they made some other changes,
Well,
building
no,
and
I'm saying when code making panel 17 made that statement.
yeah, yeah. But even as I look at this, the most important part of this whole thing here is, yeah, they got the appliances list and everything, but the most important part is that second sentence in A. Multiple Class A protected devices shall be permitted but shall not be required.
True.
That is the most important part. And then the informational note to me is the second most important part, because they're basically telling you code making panel 2 covers the branch circuit and we cover the appliance. Now,
Yeah.
with that said, now what gets interesting is what does B say? All right. So when I look at B, it tells you that, of course, your GFCI device there has to be readily accessible, listed, and located in one or more of the following locations. So you got choices here. It can be the branch circuit overcurrent device. It can be a device or outlet within the supply circuit. It can be an integral part of the attachment plug within the supply cord, not more than 12 inches from the attachment plug, or this is the one, factory installed within the appliance.
True.
So,
And then where's your outlet now, Jeremy?
that's right. Now,
You know.
if they're telling you here, this is covering the GFCI protection for these appliances here. If these were hardwired and they provided internal protection, based on the second sentence here, multiple Class A protect devices shall be permitted but shall not be required. So therefore, I don't have to put it in. Now, that's going to be in direct violation with what the specific appliances and GFCI protection is stating here with code making panel 2.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is when you look at that specific appliance in 210.8, it says protection shall be required for the branch circuit or outlet.
That's right.
Why, why does it say branch circuit or outlet? Why wouldn't they just, to me, why didn't it just say protection shall be provided for the outlet? Why do they say branch circuit or outlet? Why do you have two different locations there? Yeah, one's at the breaker, one's at the end of the branch circuit when you have an outlet installed.
That's right. It just goes to show that code making panel 2 is trying to push that there's an outlet at that equipment. Now, if I'm a manufacturer of this equipment, I'd be setting that up where I put my setup to where I have it factory installed within the appliance. That way you ain't got to deal with them. And that's why I have it. Now, one thing I will point out here also is when you go over and as well, to me, this is one of the better examples, but when you go to 625 and you deal with your electrical vehicles.
Yeah.
When you get over there and you start looking at that, well, that changes everything, because when you look at 54 and you get to your GFCI protection there, it basically just states all receptacles installed for the connection of electrical vehicle charging shall have what? GFCI protection.
Yeah.
Okay. That goes without saying, but now we ended up running into a couple extra little things, because before that they had it A and B. And that's what gets me right there, is because they specifically state receptacles. And my whole point behind this is I've said that you go outside there and you've got a receptacle out there, you got to have, and it's the box that's the outlet.
Right.
Okay. Now, the reason I've always stated that, and this is one that they get pissed off and go, oh, you can't read the code, blah, 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 blah. I always stated that when you go to Article 314, the very first word for that article is outlet. And then it has your device pull and junction boxes, your conduit bodies, and then it talks about your fittings and handhole enclosures. And that's why I said, when does it become an outlet? You know, if you got, and this is where I argue this point. If I go out there and I have a box outside there and I put a receptacle there, okay, it's got to be GFCI protected, correct? Because it's outdoors. All right. Now, is that considered a receptacle outlet box, or is that considered a device box?
I mean,
It's a device box.
Yeah.
It's a device box. And the only way it becomes an outlet out there is because you have a box out there, and that's the outlet you're setting up, and you're putting the device in the box.
Yeah.
And you know, they say, oh, well, and we've heard this argument too. They'll come in and they'll talk about a receptacle and a receptacle outlet are the same thing. Have we heard that before?
So there, just so everyone can go check out their code book, there is a pretty big mistake in there. I believe it's in 625, and they'll say provide a 250 volt, 3-wire, 50 amp rated receptacle outlet, and that's actually a mistake. I don't even think they fixed it in 2026. I'd have to look. But I always joke around when I go to the supply house. I'm like, hey, you got any more of those receptacle outlets? And then they start laughing because I already explained to them that the receptacle outlet is the location. The receptacle is the device.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing that gets me, because when you go look at a receptacle and look at the definition, what does it say over it? It tells you it's a contact device that's installed where? At the outlet.
Yeah.
That's what it says. It just says it's a contact device. And this is why I argue with them, because when you go look at receptacle outlet, what does it say? It's an outlet where the branch circuit conductors are connected to one or more receptacles, which is a device. It's not saying that the receptacle is part of the outlet. It's completely separate. It's just, in other words, it's an outlet. Okay. You established a box out there. That's your outlet. And it's where you connect the branch circuit conductors to what? The receptacle. I mean,
Yeah, and this is like where they actually ran into problems in the 2026. Me and King James are just kind of laughing like the whole time. Every time we'd see a different change in the first draft for the 2026, and we're like, oh, they're actually going to change the definition of outlet, and they try to change it to say that it's where the branch circuit conductors connect to utilization equipment, and then it broke the code a different way because now you don't have a outlet when you have cord and plug connected.
Exactly, because a receptacle and receptacle outlet aren't the same thing. That's exactly right, and that's what we were trying to explain through all this. And that you know, that's where, oh, what was the guy's name? They were saying, oh, he's going to make a proposal and show.
Oh, Don Gennari.
Don Gennari, that James Stahl.
Oh, Mr. Research.
Yeah, ended up they all laughed at him. So and what happened? Exactly what I said would happen.
Oh no, he wanted it to fail on purpose.
Oh, after it failed, yeah. the goalposts moved at that point. So,
that was funny.
But what we're trying to tell people, looking at this Smith and everything, yeah. If I was cord and plug connecting that, then yeah, I would need GFCI protection. Say it was, you know, it's outside. That's a location. That receptacle has to have GFCI protection. That's why I took you back and forth. But if I hardwired that and I've got internal, no, you don't need it then. Now, the question I would ask at this point is, why is that? That is the most important question behind this.
So the biggest thing that I ran into, and I kind of stumbled upon this by accident, is when the Standards Council rejected they basically removed 625, 54B, B1, B2, all the B parts. And they even removed A and just made it one sentence again instead of a whole page. That was
Yeah, just
ridiculous.
receptacles. That's it.
And they made the statement that when an EBSE is hardwired, that personnel protection is considered personnel protection provided by the manufacturer. Now is at 20 milliamps because it'll trip at 4 to 6 milliamps. So they make a more higher threshold personnel protection. And guess what? That's actually compliant worldwide. And the Standards Council accepted that and said, you know what? If it works for the world, it works for us. We're going to take that out of there. And the reason that the EV manufacturers were freaking out is they're like, you're telling me I got to put Class A on a bus charger? You're telling me I have to put Class A protection on a semi charger? It's not going to work.
Once
And
again, having people on code making panels that don't know what the hell they're talking about.
true. So that comes in to why I was really careful trying to distinguish between personnel protection and Class A protection. And the members of Code Making Panel 2, they don't want you to think that there's equipment out there that provides personnel protection that's not Class A.
Well, and it goes back, the question I was asking, why? Well, the reason is when you got a receptacle outside, what do you have there? Interaction. Now, how many times, even when I'm explaining going through 770E, one of the things a key term I always used in that is what? Interaction. And that made a lot of decisions for us in the 70 committee, and that's a safety issue. So if I have something outside and have people just come up and cord and or have interaction and plug the cord in and out like that, yeah. Now you're out in a wet location, possibly. You don't want to have that. But if you take and you have it where it's hardwired and you have the internal protection, now you don't need it. You see what I'm saying?
Well, there's a lot of technology's come a lot of ways since 2007 when Montrell Pergo got, sadly killed on an AC unit. But there's a lot of technology's come a long way in that 20 years, almost 20 years. And one of the things that the equipment has, like using EBSE as an example again, is they have ground detection. So if that equipment loses the ground, it immediately de-energizes. And they were trying to make the claim to keep 62554B, and they're like, oh, well, this has a 6-foot cord on it that could get hit by a car. Well, it could get hit by a meteor too. So it's like, well, are you gonna meteor proof it? It gets ridiculous, and that's where I always say, how much of our electrical equipment needs to be meteor proof? Like I kind of made the point to King James. This was like a long time ago. I made this point. What they've done with the 210.8F is like, all right, so we had a car that fell off a cliff, so now every car has to drive around with a parachute. And if you don't have a parachute, you can't get plates because all our cars have to have parachutes now. This one car fell off a cliff, but you know what? If he would have had a parachute, it would have saved that car. And it's like, so now every car has to have a parachute. It's ridiculous.
It is. But I think this is a good example here to sort of prove and why there is a conflict between two code-making panels, in my opinion.
True. And that was really good the way you put it together, kind of showing the back and forth, because there was supposed to be some correlation there from what the last communication I heard once the 2026 was finalized. There was, I think it was in the CAM meetings that they were supposed to like correlate that. And it was supposed to match on both sides, and for some reason it didn't match on the code making panel 2 side. And I don't know, it was pretty interesting because they were supposed to have meetings about that and stuff, but I never heard what happened. But
Yeah.
obviously it didn't change in the code, so you know,
That is
I don't
true.
get it. I don't get what they think they're doing because obviously I have an out when it comes to with my inspection, and it was funny because there was some comments in there where they're like, oh, well, I'm just still gonna put it on GFCI because it's safer. And
Mhm.
I'm like, really? How safe is it with 2 GFCIs? How much more safer is it than just one?
That's right.
So it's kind of like kind of diabolical where they went with some of this stuff. And like I
You know
say,
what it reminds me of? It's redundant, and it's like doing redundant grounding. It caused problems. They thought, oh, I ground it more here and do this and that. No, you actually created more paths, and now that redundant grounding is no good.
well, and it's really hard to kind of say like use the redundant when it comes to grounding because redundant grounding is bad. But then if you go into 517.13, you have to comply with A and B, which is grounding and bonding.
That's
And
right.
so it's kind of you have to be careful using the word redundant because redundant means you don't need the longer path because you're trying to create that shortest path of least resistance.
Sure you are.
You're trying to create that high
That's the
impedance.
one point, as I've
Yeah.
always said.
And so when you get into like redundant grounding, then that's when you're going to have parallel paths with objectionable current, and you have all kinds of eddy currents happening, and you have all kinds of voltage potentials getting created, and there's all kinds of problems that King James has fixed.
Mm-hmm. I have.
So, so he told me about every single one too. But
I tell you, I've been on some jobs where I'd go out and we had to look at things and we had to track stuff down and all that using oscilloscopes and all that. I'm gonna tell you what, you learn a lot when you're doing stuff like that.
yeah,
So, all right,
10-4.
let's
All right,
go into topic of the week.
it's busted. Oh, I'm kind of disappointed though, because I'm sitting here making all these graphics with you looking younger and younger every time, and here you just turn yourself into a skeleton. So I don't know. I can't help you. I can't make that skeleton look younger, but
It's funny because I had that one, and when I did it, I had a different, completely different look of that, and I uploaded it, and I said, I want you to do this that uploaded image, and I want you to tweak it a little bit. I said, I want you to have him like he's standing there with a smile on his face and he's pointing like he's teaching.
yeah,
It went through, did it, and then it did do the topic of the week, and then I had it do a new stock up electrical education logo, which I really like. But
yeah,
then
that's cool.
that little thing that is sitting there with the light bulb on it, I tweaked that quite a few times and told it how I wanted it to look and what information I wanted put in there. So it's really fun because you sort of teach it what you want it to do. And so I just said, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I said, and I was looking, I said, something I think would be cool is on the side over here to put all the things that we do each week, with
Right.
topic and all that, and it made little icons for all that. So it really was pretty cool the way that it went through and it was doing everything. So
Right.
I personally, I sort of enjoy doing it. It's cool to make some cool things, that you're wanting to create.
Oh, I 100% agree, man. I've had like my last 5 podcasts are all just built around an AI song I made.
Yeah.
And now I found out a way that I could do like I could take my guitar and I could put it through AI and then make it a really awesome ringtone.
Yeah.
So I'll send you a ringtone. You have a pretty cool ringtone.
I like cool. The ringtone I have now is Thunderstruck.
There you go. I like that.
Everybody's like, hell yeah, rock on.
Nice.
All right, now this is going
Okay.
to deal with your AC and refrigeration equipment and basically gets into the listing requirements. And it basically talks about where listings required, and it talks about your field assembled electric motor driven air conditioning and your refrigeration equipment. It is going to be required to be listed. And then there's another one B that deals with your field installed electric heaters. And what it says here, and you need to listen to what I'm going to say here, because it's going to talk about electric heaters that are field installed within the enclosure. Okay. And this is where it's field installed within the enclosure of what I was just talking about, your electric motor driven air conditioning and refrigeration equipment, that when you do that, it's going to be required to be identified as a listed field and installed accessory. That's part of the listed equipment. So in other words, what they've done, they realize they have the AC equipment, and we may put a field installed electric heater in there, and they're going to have a setup there where you can put it in and it becomes part of the listed equipment. But
True.
but when you do that, you have
That's
to
basically a
make sure,
listed assembly.
you have to make sure that field installed electric heater is identified and listed as part of that installable accessory.
True.
Okay, so that's a big portion of this here, and things that you need to look at when you're dealing with these listing requirements for the AC equipment. All right. Then this in here, and we talked about this a while back, and I was telling you how I went in and I drew what the unit really looks like and on the outside, and then you got the split system mini unit that's inside, that's in the top right hand corner of the illustration there. When I was looking at this, I was like, I haven't seen a really good illustration that goes in and shows these split system indoor units. So I decided I would go ahead and just show you exactly on the side of the building and the hoses stuff going in, how this thing really works. So what they did, and this is going to get into the identification for this. Okay. And what it's going to tell you is that outdoor disconnecting means. Now, when you look
Is that an outdoor outlet? Oh, wait. Oh, no, never mind.
Well, you're going to see, we got the disconnecting means set up out here. Okay. And that's why I wanted to draw this whole thing, because I wanted you to see the disconnecting means that's out here. And that's pretty much the way you're going to see it set up. This disconnecting means for this split system HVAC unit, and this is going to be in other than 1 and 2 family dwellings. Okay. Sure. It's going to be required to be marked with a location of all the indoor units that it supplies. And that's going to be in accordance with, guess what section? 110.22A. And when you get over to 110.22A, what is that section going to deal with? That's going to
labeling,
deal with the identification of your disconnecting means. And you got A, B, C, and all that, but you're really going to be looking at A, and it's just going to tell you there that each disconnecting means is required to be legibly marked to indicate its purpose. Okay. Unless, of course, it's located and arranged in such a manner that it's evident to what its purpose is. Okay. And of course, since it's outside, that marking has to be what? Sufficient durability to withstand whatever type of environment it's going to be in.
And just to let everyone know, if you go look on your label tape, it literally says right on there. I've actually taken that label tape before right to the inspector and showed him. It says suitable for the environment of wet location.
Yeah, and just to sort of give you an idea, just say like I was doing something on this, and let's say that I wanted to really go in depth for this whole system. You'll notice there, like I'm showing the split system mini unit, and I'm saying 440.8's air handler. You need to also look at 430.87 exception 1, 430.112 exception. And then right up above that, we have an NEC tip here, 4 steps in designing the air conditioner circuit with all them sections. If I was doing just this one little thing, I'd do a whole breakdown on this, probably take about 10 pages just to show you everything you need to know about that.
Yeah.
And those are things that you're not going to see in these other publications. And that's why it's important to know all the different sections and everything that you're going to deal with. All right.
Yeah.
450.12 is, of course, where we're going to get in, and we're going to be dealing with our transformers. And when I look at 450.12, this is getting into the grounding and bonding, and this is going to be your dry type transformer enclosure. And what it's going to talk about here is it's going to talk about the terminal bars, and it's going to give you 4 requirements here, and it's going to tell you have to comply with all of these requirements here. So the first thing it's going to talk about is where you have separate equipment grounding conductors and supply side bonding jumpers. If those are installed, it's going to tell you that you have to have a terminal bar for all those grounding and bonding conductor connections, and they're required to be what? Secured inside the transformer enclosure. Then,
yeah, I actually got busted on that one. I did one. This is probably right when this code change came out, and I did all individual lugs. And it was funny. The inspector's like, "Man, that's a beautiful install, but you can't have individual lugs. It's got to be a bar."
yeah,
And now what you find, which I think is really cool, is when the transformer companies supply this transformer, make sure that you get this bar with it, because they have those that are supposed to come with those transformers.
sure. And then it's going to tell you right
They're
after
supposed to
that.
be like an included.
Sure. And they're going to tell you when you have that terminal bar, it's required to be bonded to the enclosure. Then it's going to refer you to 250.12. And what does 250.12 talk about? You have to have a clean surface. So that means you got to make sure that it's making contact with that enclosure.
I kind of disagree a little bit with that 250.12 one. I would say as long as you comply with 250.A, the list items in A4, I think it's 1 through 6, because we covered that before. I mean, I don't think that they really require you to have a clean surface. I think it just says you must so remember we did the thing if you have threaded taps with 2 threads contact.
Yeah, and when you go over there and you pick that up, it talks about your permitted methods, and one of them that's there is terminal bars.
Yeah,
that's listed. I think it's number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But, the other thing is that you take that terminal bar and you could have machine screw type fasteners that engage not less than 2 threads, or it could be thread forming machine screws that engage not less than 2 threads.
100%.
So yeah, that's where Bill's going with that, in case y'all are wondering.
Yeah, a clean surface is good, but what we came across was one of the guys at my company I was at was like, "Oh, you always have to scrape the paint," and I was like, "No, you don't.
No, you don't." And that's why we spend time going over this, so you can see where we're coming from, and we give little extra sections for you to go look at. Now, the other part of that is also when you're installing them terminal bars, they can't be installed where it obstructs any of the ventilation openings. Okay. And They'll tell you also one other thing that you can do. You can have multiple terminal bars, okay?
Yeah.
But only if they're interconnected with a bonding jumper, okay?
And it has to be the largest size
That's right.
that's used.
Connected to that you're using. That is correct. And that is the change that they made there, just to sort of clarify what the requirements are going to be for these terminal bars. Okay.
Right.
All right. Then that's going to take us to 480.8. And of course, this is going to be dealing with your batteries. And one of the things that, say batteries, your stationary batteries, should I say, when you pick up 480.8, what does that section deal with? This deals with the grounding of your battery stands and also your conductive cases. So basically what it's saying is you have conductive battery stands, your racks, your cabinets, your cases, things like that are required to be grounded. So in other words, that whole system's basically grounded. You know what it sort of reminds me of is sort of like when you have racks and you're putting electrical equipment on it and how they'll ground those. It's all part of one system. Sort of the same concept.
True.
Okay. So I agree with that change of what they did there.
It makes common sense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think what that comes into a lot too is that a lot of this battery technology is getting more compact, higher energy. I saw a battery rack in a building that was 480.
Mm-hmm.
It was 480 output just out of batteries. Man,
Sure.
I've never seen anything like it before, and so that's where some of this bonding requirement comes in. That you got to basically ground it like it's that stored energy. And if anything happens, one of those terminals comes loose, you want that to be able to have a low impedance path to clear that fault.
Sure. And then that all they did extra, they added a whole new section in 480.14 for these stationary batteries, and they just say you got to have provisions put in place that are provided to prevent the batteries from becoming overcharged. That's it. And
I agree with that.
That sort of gets you through your batteries. And then the next thing we're going to be looking at is Article 495, and there's a few changes that actually took place in this article that we need to look at. And of course, this is dealing with your equipment over 1,000 volts.
I was just going to ask if it was medium voltage because there was some kind of like listing requirements added for medium voltage, and I think that's kind of weird because a lot of the equipment that we would see that was medium voltage out in the field would not come showing up perfect. Like it would always need to be kind of altered in a way because, you'd have the terminals on the wrong side. I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. Like they build this whole building. They have these stovepipes where we're supposed to bring these cables in, and then they put the terminals on top.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we supposed to do? Take all these cables through the equipment, through all this stuff, somehow, squeeze it against all this stuff and then terminate it on top? No, we just unhook those lugs and we move the lugs to the bottom where they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets into kind of what I see as like a gray area, kind of almost a problematic thing. Because if you're sitting there saying, okay, this is a listed piece of equipment, now it comes out the field, we have to alter it. How long is that going to throw the job back? Because now you have to have an FEB come out there. It's ridiculous. Like a lot of these guys that are making these changes don't actually know what it takes to do this in the real world. Now, what we did was we had, let's just say, 3 parallel lugs that we needed to move on the bus bar. We went and we torqued them, we torque marked them, we made sure it was all the correct hardware, we made sure it was all factory correct, we made sure everything was good. We had the third party inspector come look at it, make sure that was good before we termed it. We tested all the cables before we termed it. like all this stuff is, it just, to me, it's weird that they're trying to put this in the code when we've already been figuring this out for a long time without the code.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I thought it was kind of weird. I was just like, dude, we're already doing this our own way. Like we will take that piece of gear that you see in your picture right there, and we
Mm-hmm.
will make that thing work no matter what we have to do. And it's not gonna be it's almost like those guys don't understand where the cables need to go. Like we understand where the cables need to go. You got your line side in, you got your load side out, you know, and they don't, it's weird. It's like they don't understand. Like they just bolt stuff in where they think it goes. And then we're like, we see the whole equipment when it shows up. We're like, what is this? This ain't
Mm-hmm.
going to work. So
Well,
I don't know. It's interesting that they like are so hell bent on this whole listing and labeling stuff. And, oh, this must be listed, must be listed, must be listed. But to me, the way I look at it, I'm an actual relisting agent. I take the listed equipment and I relist it my own way, and then it works. So
and it's going to make it interesting because in this one, when they're talking about the listing requirements, they're going to mention your switch gear and your industrial control panels. And
yeah,
if it's operating not more than 15,000 volts AC or DC, it's got to be listed. Then it drops down, says if it's over 15,000 volts AC, DC, but not over 52,000 volts AC or DC, those have to be listed. And then, of course, I'm waiting to see how they do this, but if it's not over 15,000 votes, that becomes effective January 1st, 2029. If it's over 15,000 votes and not greater than 52,000 votes, that listing requirement only becomes effective January 1st, 2032.
I mean, it probably is going to take them that long to train these people to learn like how to actually list this stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, to me, there's more concern of like the instant energy. Some of these systems that we hook up, like I was blown away. I mean, there was a gear pretty much like what you're showing here, and it controlled some motors,
Mm-hmm.
and they were 13,800 volt motors, and they ramped up to full speed in half a cycle.
Yep.
I mean, that is like, to me, just thinking of that in reality is faster than the speed of light, because what you're relying on is chain reaction of atoms
That's right.
versus, actually, you're sitting there saying, oh, well, the light, once you turn the light on, then you see the light, whatever. To me, that is actually faster than the speed of light,
Yeah.
because you have an inrush of electrons. And then the other problem that you have with this is once you lose power, now you have power contribution. So you have three motor buckets there. Now those motors turn into generators because they're free spinning. And instead of applying 13.8 to them, they're freaking sending back 13.8. And a lot of these listing agents that would be listing this are not understanding like the line and the load and how to kind of dissipate this. There's so many things you have to know when you see this equipment, and like in the field actually know what's going to happen in electrical theory. To me, honestly, I don't think listing is any kind of benefit. To me, honestly, it's kind of like, and Tommy D said this too. He's like, well, what happens if we put stuff in the code and it is, you don't have any product, or there's no way that you could do it, or there's no people trained or whatever. Well, you just go back to doing what you've been doing every code cycle before it. And so it's just like, yeah, exactly. That's what we've been doing on a lot of this stuff. And it's just getting to be a joke, but I don't
Yep.
know. I'll get off my soapbox on that one.
Hey, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've brought a lot of these things up, so. All right, The next one you're looking at, it's going to be dealing with your grounding switches. And there's going to be an A and a B. The first one they're going to deal with interlocking, and the B is going to deal with signs. And basically what it talks about here, it's going to tell you that these grounding switches are going to be required to be interlocked with the disconnecting means. And this is for all sources of power to the location where the grounding switch is going to be applied. So that means that the disconnecting means is going to be required at this point. It'll have to be open prior to moving the grounding switch to the grounded position. And that disconnecting means cannot be closed while the grounding switch is in the grounded position. Okay.
They're talking about chicken switch there.
Mm-hmm. And then the sign, it tells you it's got to comply with what? 110.21b. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I want to point out at this, because it's going to tell you it's going to be required to be installed at that grounding switch location, of course, and that's going to indicate that that grounding switch is present. Okay. Now, the thing that I want to point out, they got a last sentence there, and they tell you that it also can be that this sign is permitted. It can be field or factory installed. So in other words, they're realizing that grounding switch could be applied after the fact.
Sure.
Okay. So
yeah.
That's something, one of the things I want to point out that you'll have to pay real close attention to.
Nice.
All right. Then you got
old Lemonhead there. Looks like old Lemonhead's rocking some buckets today.
Yeah, I got to give him his due every now and then. But this one's going to talk about the switchgear enclosure and installation. And basically, all it just basically says is the switchgear is required to be what? A metal and structure and a metal sheet enclosure. That's all it's really saying. And of course, whenever that's installed over a combustible floor, then you've got to have non-combustible protection provided. And that'll be provided under any openings in the bottom of that switch gear. Okay.
Oh man, don't get me started on that one. Like, yeah, we put all those things in wood barns all the time,
Let me tell you where that comes in, because I've dealt with this before. A lot of people y'all probably never ever freaking see it. But usually where you're getting into that kind of stuff is where you're in research and development.
Okay.
That's usually where you get in. I dealt with some of the switch gear like that, and they have a bunch of combustible flooring and all of that out there. And they have to take different precautions and things out there. And that's why I feel that section was put in there.
Okay. I have not dealt with that, but it sounded like wood barn to me. But that's what happens when you hear say that.
I'll give you an example of something that happened. Okay. They had taken, and I found this really interesting, but they were doing some research and development, and inside the labs and everything that were where they were doing the development, or the research, I say, they have a lot of open wires and stuff that they connect to and things. Cause I mean, it's a research lab, and they had put in place, there were certain rules where they hired a new guy. He was basically cleanup crew, and kept the area clean and all that at night. Well, they had ran out of wax, as a good example, and they had been using non-conductive wax. Well, nobody told him, and he went and bought a conductive type of wax, and he went and waxed that floor and everything. It had built up over time. Well, they have those open wires. They create sparks and stuff, and they got windows where they look in. Well, guess what ended up happening? It caught on fire.
Wow.
Because they had a conductive wax that was used on the floor, and nobody told him. That goes back to a lot of what I'm talking about. training and stuff, and they have certain training, but it's just one of them things you learned over time.
True.
Okay.
And I just want to give a big shout out to all the people over on Rumble. People have been piling in there tonight, so really appreciate you joining us tonight. So appreciate that.
Yeah, that channel is just slowly but surely built up. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the next 2 or 3. I don't remember how many's in there, but what this is going to get into, this is going to talk about the equipment vaults. And when you go in and you look at this, you're going to get some of the same exact requirements, just like you would see for a transformer vault. And they'll tell you that when you look at 90, they're basically going to say, or 495.90, it's going to tell you that these vaults for this equipment, and of course it's going to have in there, it's going to tell you other than transformers, and it's going to say where they contain more than 10 gallons of insulating fluid in a single volume within the equipment, you have to apply what's down below this. So then you get to the location, and they basically tell you that when you have these vaults, they're going to be located where they can be ventilated. Okay.
Right.
And they're going to be ventilated outside air, but these vaults are going to be doing this without using flumes or ducts wherever such arrangement is practical. So they don't want you using those if possible. Then you go down and you look at 92. That's where you pick up your walls, roofs, and floors. And it tells you that those walls and roofs of that vault have to be constructed where you have a minimum fire resistance of 3 hours. Then you get in the floors, they have to be at least how thick? 4 inches. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they tell you any type of stud or wallboard construction that's not permitted to be used. Okay. So then you come over here and you pick up the next one, and this is where you get 93A through C. And this is where you get to your doorways, and they got what type of door, your seals, your accessibility. And what they tell you is what type of door. Well, it has to be a tight fitting door, of course, but it has a minimum fire rating of what? 3 hours.
That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a 3 hour wall.
Well, they're telling you. And then the exterior door has to be a 3 hour rating. Then you get into the seals, how the door sill or curb, what is the height of it? 4 inches. Then you get into the accessibility, the locks. They tell you the doors have to be equipped with locks. They're required to be kept locked. And of course, only people that have access to it will be qualified personnel. And then, of course, the personnel doors have to be capable of what? Open to 90 degrees, and you got to have that listed fire exit hardware. Now, the reason
and what is that panic hardware on the inside?
Well, panic hardware. They call it listed fire exit hardware.
Gotcha.
So same thing, in my opinion.
Okay, gotcha.
And that sounds just like we're looking at what? A transformer vault.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why I bring it up. You're sort of looking at the same thing. And then when you get to 94A through F, that is going to deal with your ventilation opens. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because there's, no distances or anything like that, but it's going to cover the location. And it just says you got to keep the ventilation opens as far as possible from what? Doors, windows, fire escapes, any type of combustible material. Then you've got arrangement, you got your size for it. Now, when you look at the size, they're determined based on the recommendations from the equipment manufacturer. Okay. Then you could have coverings that you have ventilation openings where they're covering any where you're covering the ventilation openings. You could have gratings, screens, louvers, something like that. Then you got your dampers that go on there. Then you got your ducts. Okay. And
just for like people that don't know all these terms, Dampers are basically like if you have any kind of a fire or something, they contain it.
Sure it is. And when you're looking at that, it basically, what does it tell you? That you're going to have those dampers, and they're going to be automatic.
True.
So they're basically, I think the way they refer to it is automatic closing fire dampers. And of course, that damper has to have a rating of not less than 1.5 hours. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean we've actually ran to those before where they actually have proof switches, and it only closes at a certain, degree and stuff like that. So there's so many different things you could do with those dampers. So
Sure. And then they get in the last three. You got drainage. Okay. So, and the main part to that is going to be B, where they tell you that the floor has to be pitched. Okay.
yeah, that's smart.
Where the drain's going to be provided. The other thing, they talk about water pipes and accessories, and basically the first one's going to deal with your foreign systems, and they're just going to tell you that they shall not enter or pass through the equipment vault, just like for a transformer. They got your associated systems where they talk about piping or other facilities that are provided for that vault fire protection. That those type are not considered foreign to the electrical installation, so they can be installed there. And of course, you're not allowed to store anything in the equipment vault. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's smart.
And that, folks, will get you through chapter 4 of the changes up to this point. Next week, we'll start on chapter 5.
Dude, I'm gonna quit making you look younger. I'm gonna start making you look like Skeletor. Like, I'm gonna be like, here's Skeletor teaching a class with Willie Snyder, so
It's funny. I was out the other night, I was at the pool hall, and this guy, we were sitting there talking, and there was an older guy there, and he goes, when we get up to his age, he goes, we're probably going to be feeling it like him. And looked down and said, how old do you think I am? He goes, I don't know. He goes, what are you, about 45, 50, somewhere? I said, hell no. I said, I'm about to be 63. He goes, dude, he goes, how do you look younger? I said, baby, I'm just living the good life.
Yeah. To me personally, I just get a gray hair in my beard for every project I pull through.
I finally started getting a little gray right here. The rest of my hair is brown, but just right here on the side, I look like the guy from Fantastic Four, Stretch.
There you go.
Reed Richards. That's his name. Reed Richards. That's who it is.
Okay. All right. Well, no, good job
tool?
on that.
Tool
yeah, let's do tool of the week.
All right.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
Boo! You should be holding bread, man. DeWalt guy's here, man. Oh, dude. Daniel, come on, man. Dude. And yeah, dude. That's really funny, Daniel. Like that's honestly. Oh man, come on, Daniel.
Hey, I'm giving him grades each week on myth of the week. So
yeah, but
hey,
dude, it's kill me on this one, man. It's holding bread, dude. What the heck, man? You should know I'm a DeWalt guy. But
I like your new graphic here. I think
it's cool. I use Milwaukee too. Like I really don't care. Like I really like the different stuff, but this is the DeWalt whole hog, and I'm gonna actually have a competition between the DeWalt and the Milwaukee. I at one point in time, I actually had videos and pictures of the Milwaukee one or the Milwaukee whole hog smoking and like catching on fire and stuff. I know that this one, I don't have any videos of this one catching on fire or smoking. Did we have a video on this one?
Yeah, it's I just try to go find different things. I'm trying to upgrade everything.
Yeah, we don't have to do that right now, but we'll do it in the next one.
No, I did do it. And
okay.
This right here, give a shout out over YouTube channel at Sparky.
Okay.
And he goes through and he's putting this thing through its pace. And I thought that would be cool to show this thing really, getting after it. So let's
cool. Yeah, we haven't showed too many videos up in here yet.
Okay, let's see. Oh, it did it not work? Oh, you got to be kidding. I guess it doesn't. Man, I thought it. Let's see here. I guess I had to. Nope, it won't do it. It was working on my thing, but when I downloaded, I guess it didn't do it. Well, anyway, if y'all want to go over to the YouTube channel at Sparky Channel, he goes through and he really puts this thing through its paces. And he got different bits, different sizes, and he just going through that wood. It was really a pretty cool video.
If you ask me, I would actually say that this DeWalt whole hog is the best battery powered whole hog out there. I run the 60 volt flex volt power plant in a lot of my tools. Not really a lot, but a few of my tools, and it's ridiculous. There's a store by me. I bought a 9 amp hour battery, and it rips. It's actually powering my speaker right now, and I could actually weed eat my whole entire yard with my weed eater and not even drop a bar. It's ridiculous, but this whole hog is the real deal. Like I'd put it up against Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's kind of caught up a little bit in this. So I actually would like to see, I've actually seen quite a few Milwaukee smoke. A lot of times what they do, they use these whole hogs for like tuggers to power like the tuggers and stuff. And they're trying to pull through too many 90s and they're trying to pull too big a wire. So that's going to be interesting to see. Most of the ones that I'm thinking of that power the tugger and stuff are going to be the corded ones. So it'd be interesting to see if one of these battery ones could actually run a tugger and actually successfully pull some wires. So I'm going to give a challenge out to some people out there and actually tell me if you can actually run a tugger with this DeWalt one. I don't know. Honestly, there's a lot of different kind of cool concepts with tuggers that would be cool, but I would just say that you would just run it with a corded model. I don't think you would want to do the cordless one, but if you had a bunch of these 60 amp hour or these 9 amp hour 60 volt batteries ready to go, give it the challenge. See if it'll run a tugger. See if it, starts smoking. Like that's where I saw some of the Milwaukee ones start smoking, is running the tugger. But I've seen a lot of different whole hog applications, and like I say, I would really recommend you guys go check out the Sparky channel and check out this video. And don't listen to me, just listen to somebody who's actually showing it do its thing. But maybe there's a way we can figure out how to get those videos to play in the future.
I will try.
Yeah, it's all good. It was weird because I wasn't really saying you couldn't do it, but I was like, because we did a myth of the week where we showed a video from YouTube, and it was, is it the stronger with the hole down and the hole up on a one hole strap? Remember that?
Yep.
And we showed that video, and that guy just busted the pipe right off with the hole down.
Sure did.
And with the hole up, he stood on it, jumped up and down on it, and it stayed the whole time. So
that's right.
busted out, man. But that's why it's so much fun. But what do we got now? Amber's machine.
Yep. Let's roll
All
it.
right.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
That's so messed up, Daniel.
I was taken, and when I was making this, I was like, okay, I used one of the.
Can I steal your waffle?
Yes. Sorry, it was my niece is over at the house. She's asking if she could have something. I said, you can have whatever you want. I had the sort of line image, made it do it a little bit different. I said, it'd look cool if you put a robe on it with a lightning clasp and put a crown on it. I said, that'll really piss Jeremy and them off.
I like it, dude.
All right, let's see what you got this week.
So this kind of comes from a little bit of interesting range here. I was kind of there's a lot of guys that are going tested for the journeyman, and a lot of it is just finding where it says it word for word and just plugging in those numbers. So that's all you really got to do is just plug in the number on this one, and I'm sure you got this one nailed.
I think I'm correct on this, and I think I know it's over in 720.40B, I think, but this one, I'm gonna tell you my reasoning behind this. The reason I'm gonna give the answer, but I think this is just like transformers, and based on the amperage ratings and stuff, I think this particular one, just like I do the transformer calculations, 167%.
Okay.
So, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's right, because when you go over and you look at transformers, for instance, and you go in and you're looking at your 450.3B, that is the main section that you're going to look at when you're dealing with this.
Okay.
This is where you pick up your transformers. And
Okay.
Well, I take that back. In the 2026, it's 5B. It used to be 3B. But when you look at A, 455A, that's transformers over 1,000 volts. When you get to B, that's 1,000 volts or less. But they're actually
this is without a transformer though.
I know, but I'm basing what I think on this, because if you have a current less than 9 amperes, it's 167% where you're doing the primary protection only. And if the current's less than 2 amps, it's 300%. Now I'm just giving you my reasoning behind this, because you know how I am. I do process of elimination sometimes.
What was that code reference you said?
455B.
Well, no, for where did this come from?
I think it's 40B. And
you think it's in where?
724.40B. I think that's correct.
Okay.
And
we just got to get the bearing, because then we're going to ask ChatGPT. We want to see how close ChatGPT gets.
Yeah.
If you are right, but I don't know. It's going to be a close one. I think Daniel's going to go 140,000%.
I think this is done off 167%, because I think you're not going to be less than 2 amps, but in between 2 and 9 amps. And I think that's it. See, if you would have had the other percentage up there, I would have went with it. But the highest one you have is 167. That's why I went with it. So I did a process of elimination here.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go or share screen and see what Chat GPT.
I thought you were gonna go E. The sky's the limit. King James just does whatever he wants.
Yeah, well, that'd be okay too. All right, so I got set up. Let's see what Chat GPT has to say about it.
Ooh, it's thinking hard.
Went 167. 724.40B.
Dang it. Man, this is getting so hard for me.
Oh, it's getting funny now. It says, and as for option E, the sky's the limit. King James does what he wants. He says, sorry, even King James has to answer to the NEC panel on this one.
Oh,
Not feeling whatever feels right today. I'm going to put him on there. Okay, he was right. Well, first I got to go over it. Give me a second. Let me go over here. I need to go look. Let me pull it up real quick. I forgot. Dang it. So I need to go over here. Let me load up real quick.
Right. It's so funny having like all these inside jokes going, like it cracks me up, like going to like other people's podcasts I listen to and just, I go over to the Ep and Weird podcast, I go over to the Stoned 8 podcast, and it's just funny, and he'll do like an episode, and then I'll be like, I sendeth thee my second baggeth of wind. I guess there was this thing where like Thor sent him with a bag of wind, and some guy like accidentally like tipped over the bag of wind, and it like caused this hurricane and sunk all their boats and stuff. It was just funny. It was just so funny, like reading some of that stuff.
Correct, and it is that section, and the National Electrical Code section was.
So are you in Link now?
Yeah, I just went over and got everything. I had to go check to make sure. All right. As far as King James,
dude, I cannot stump you guys, man.
Making that statement, it was Wild Bill who was trying to be funny.
Yeah, I get you guys finally.
King James actually.
I don't think I got you guys in a year, probably.
Answered the question and NEC section correctly, which states.
I'm going to have to ask ChatGPT how to fool itself.
Okay, I told it what to do. Absolutely, I've recorded it, blah, 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 blah. It does a whole thing. And for the record, while Bill gets credit or blame for the humorous option E, King James correctly identified. I'll make sure future reference reflect that distinction of what you just made.
Nice. All right. Yeah, let's get the inside jokes going, man. I love it. That's fun. That's why we do it. And dude, I'm getting to the point. I don't even know where I got to go. I think I went pretty far in the well on that one. I thought I was pretty deep in the well for you, but
I wasn't exactly sure because I might have gone up on that percentage if you'd have done the less than 2 amps at 300%. But I saw the 167 and being a class 1 circuit. That's why I was like, okay, it's got to be 167. So
yeah,
that's a good exercise for everybody. Is I would have known where to go find it. But I'm doing all this on the fly when he asks these questions, and I'm guessing and everything. Sometimes I've done some process of eliminations where I've guessed correctly, and there's been 4 times I missed, but I got it on the second one doing process of elimination.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the second answer option. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're 100% if we go off second answer, but
yeah.
Like the coin flip one was wrong. But the whole thing is that, like, I love the fact of how good of a sport King James is. Like, when he gets one wrong, he's like so humble, and he just like admits, like, hey, I'm not
Never
as
missed
smart
it.
as you over there, Nat King Code, and you know what I mean. But at the same time, it's just really tongue in cheek, joking, and just having fun, creating inside jokes. And the Man vs. Machine segment has become incredible because I don't think you're gonna get one wrong, and I don't think ChatGPT is gonna get one wrong. It's just like this unstoppable force meets this immovable object, kind of
Oh, I
just
will
gonna.
get one wrong. I guarantee it. There'll be one. I'll be like, oh shit. I mean, the last three I've guessed at. I mean,
Yeah.
I hadn't been. I've been right on or close to the section stuff, but it's just I've had to do process of elimination, and one of them I did a coin flip because I
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah,
and
when you hit that on the coin flip, I was like, "Dang it! I'm just like not gonna fool you this year." I don't think I got you in a long time,
it's
but
been a long time since you've got me.
yeah, and I don't think I got ChatGPT in a long time, but
And what's
I,
funny is the four that he got me on, it was a code change, and I couldn't remember if it changed or not. And
and
I was
then
like,
you did the code change book, so I can't get you on those
yeah.
anymore.
So
So,
yeah, just the way it goes. All right.
all right, we're doing
Willie
Willie
Quiz,
quiz.
baby. You might not like your new intro, but I still kept your old one. But I want you to see the new one.
All right.
You are now entering the zone of the Willie Quiz. Enter at your own risk.
What you need to do is you need to send me that one, and then I'll make it better, like on my own. Like I'll do it like a little more personalized. I really like that intro song. Turned out
Yeah,
pretty good. But
I think it's all right.
um, so question number one: which country became the first to win a FIFA World Cup on penalties? Was it A, Italy? Was it B, Germany? Was it C, Brazil? Was it D, Argentina? Or was it E, Uruguay? Good luck, everyone.
It's funny because I remember they had this and they were talking about it on the thing, and I think I'm going off sort of memory. I think it was Germany, wasn't it? I think.
So Daniel's going
Uh,
B, Germany. Are you really going to copy Daniel
yeah,
again?
I
You're going to
said
copy
Germany.
Daniel? Answer is C, Brazil, one of their 5 of the record holding titles they won off penalties. All right. The shortest serving president of the United States held office for only 31 days. Who was he? Was it A, James Garfield? Was it B, William Henry Harrison? Was it C, Warren G. Harding? Was it D, Zachary Taylor? Or was it E, Gerald Ford? Good luck, everyone.
I know this one. I love history, so I automatically know this one. I'll wait for him to answer. I
All
know
right,
what it
so
is.
Daniel is going B.
A.
William Henry Harrison.
That's correct. I know that's correct.
All right, we have tonight's first correct answer. Awesome. I'm glad you guys aren't just copying each other. All right, so which chemical element was first discovered in the sun before it was identified on Earth? Was it A, helium? Was it B, argon? Was it C, neon? Was it D, xenon? Or was it E, hydrogen? Good luck, everyone.
I know this one too.
This one's pretty interesting. Daniel's going A, helium.
Daniel's pretty smart. I'll give him that. It is helium. I know this one.
We have another correct answer. Helios, the sun god. So that's crazy that they said Helios. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, Helios, you know?
Yeah,
I was like, no, he's going to get this one wrong. All right. Which nation has appeared in the most FIFA World Cup tournaments without ever winning the championship? Is it A, Sweden? Is it B, Belgium? Is it C, Mexico? Is it D, Chile? Or is it E, Netherlands? Good luck, everyone.
I have no freaking clue. I guess. I'm thinking I might go with. I was thinking because I know Mexico has been in a whole bunch, and I don't think they've ever won one. And they were thinking this year they had a really good chance. I sort of remember them talking about it. I'll go Mexico. I think it's Mexico.
All right, so you decide to just copy Daniel once again.
He went C.
So, all right, let's see. Answer C, Mexico just took the lead by 1 this year, in 2026. So
I remember them talking about it when they who was it they were playing? I remember them talking about it, and all the fans were
England.
England, yeah.
And England went to the third place match, but
all
right. What mountain is the tallest in the world when measured from the base rather than sea level? Is it A, Denali? Is it B, K2? Is it C, Mount Everest? Is it D, Mauna Kea? Is it E, Mount
Chimborazo.
Good luck, everyone.
Well, it's interesting because I do know this, and I can tell you why. I'll wait till Daniel answers because let's see what he comes up with here. What did he come up with?
He's going with D.
Yeah. Mauna Kea. I've literally been to every state in the United States, a whole bunch of places overseas. The only reason I never got to go to Hawaii is because my wife at the time, she'd been there like 4 or 5 times. She didn't want to go, so we went to other places. And I've always wanted to go to Hawaii to say I've been to every state. And I've done research on golf courses there I want to play and everything. And I was reading about Mauna Kea, and they were talking about it was the tallest mountain in the world when it was measured from its base. It's the only reason I know that. So
all right.
Give us correct answers and give us our runoff.
All right. We have a tie. So the tiebreaker is a great one. You're going to love this. I freaking prepped up for this. I was hoping it was going to be a tie.
All right.
What is the fastest time by air that was the continental U.S. was crossed from coast to coast? Fastest time, hours, minutes, doesn't matter. Like, whatever. Like, I will convert minutes. You could say however many minutes, or you could just say all these hours, whatever.
You said the continental divide was crossed?
No, the continental U.S. So from East Coast to West Coast, what's the fastest time ever recorded? By air. By air.
I would say it'd take at least an hour, about an hour. You take the Blackbird, that's at SR 72 or whatever it is. I would say it's probably an hour. So I'll say an hour and 30 minutes.
All right. So hour 30, what does that come up to? 90 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, I went higher. He may win.
Daniel takes the win, 64 minutes, 20 seconds. It was just a little teeny bit over an hour. Oh, man. Daniel did not go over. King James went over by 30 minutes. Daniel takes the win this week. What a thrilling tiebreaker. I cannot believe it. That is amazing, though, to stretch the whole entire continental U.S. in about an hour.
Yeah, I was thinking, that Blackbird's freaking fast. So I was thinking,
you said hour and 30 minutes, though. It's faster than that. It's faster than King James.
Yeah, I was thinking, about an hour, hour and a half. I was just like, I'll just go an hour and a half. That sounds about right.
Dude, nice takedown. Daniel comes back for revenge. Oh, the customary walk King James out the building.
I went with an hour first, then I kicked it up 30 minutes. I almost said, let's just go an hour. Then I was like, oh, no, I don't think he crossed it that fast. I was like, let's go an hour and 30 minutes. I was actually thinking probably about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. And
you could have said an hour and 1 second and won.
Yeah.
You could have said an hour and 1 minute and won. So, like, we're giving you an out by showing Daniel's answer first. Like, he could have went too far under. And then all you have to do is just go 1 second or 1 minute over him, like Price is Right. Dude.
I'm always trying to be exact.
Yeah? No, that's cool. That was a really fun quiz. All right, let's move on to the Wall of Shame.
Last thing of the night.
Shame. 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 Shame.
There was some pressure on Daniel to change his title, his Willie Quiz Champ title handle on Facebook, but it's safe now, Daniel, so just letting you know. But that's a really cool illustration, dude. I don't get this. Like, why are they doing this? Like,
Wait a
man,
minute. They drilled holes in the side of that conduit?
yeah. And to me, honestly, why don't you just put a box in there?
That is unbelievable.
I would just do a FS box. You come straight
Wow.
in with both of them.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, I don't know what they didn't have a box that day or what, but
I tell
when I
you,
saw that,
you're really doing some serious drilling to get that in there. I mean, golly.
yeah, and that's what's so funny is when you have like these different people that are posting up in Wall of Shame, and it's like the carefree raspberry, that's so cool that these guys are like anonymous, just taking these pictures because we don't want you to get in trouble at work or anything either,
Yeah.
but it's really cool to bring us these pictures so we can kind of talk about them. And to me, it's really weird because the thing that I thought was kind of incredible too is they have a rigid, that's like it looks like a Form 7 or a Form 8 RMC LB that they somehow drilled out. Like that's not just like an aluminum LB, like that's a
No.
rigid LB.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying the drilling.
And then they just got EMT going to it. It's like, what?
I'm wondering. That's unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if that's real, if that's AI, congratulations on the AI level of that. If it's
That looked
real,
real to me. That looked
yeah,
real
it
to
looks
me.
real. I mean, it looks like they drilled it. But
Yeah, that
man,
looked
I
real.
just can't believe it. Like I'm just like, what?
Damn.
Like,
That's
I
something
mean,
there.
yeah, I mean, the amount of trouble they went through to drill that LB and everything is pretty amazing. But really appreciate it. You did a lot of hard work this week, like such awesome new graphics and everything. And like, I'm just, you know, I want to be the one to say that, I want to make Jeremy right and say that I'm the one that called you King James, so that's why you put all the King James like references in this podcast, so that I could take credit and be the one that said I did it, versus, I don't want to give the ECD boys credit, I want to be like, oh, no, that was me. That was my idea the whole time,
I thought it was
but
funny.
it's always a lot of fun doing these. I have a blast. Thanks so much, Daniel, for crushing King James tonight in the tiebreaker by like 30 minutes. Dude, you got crushed by 30 minutes by the SR-71 Blackbird, dude. SR-71 Blackbird was all the way to China by the time you thought it was crossing America. It was already across the Pacific, so,
I'm getting older. It takes me longer.
yeah. But so much fun doing these. I always have a blast doing them. Thanks so much for everyone joining. Means a lot. Go subscribe to the channel. Check out all our other stuff, all our other videos. We have so much other stuff out there, so many content. King James broke them down into segments, so you can just check out the individual segments if you want. And go check out our new group, just the Myth of the Week group over on Facebook, and then we're just gonna post just Myth of the Weeks, and that's all you do. Just check out Myth of the Weeks, and this one's pretty interesting this week. I think you could make the argument that you almost never need a second Class A device once you have that integral protection in the equipment. And I think that's pretty huge. And was that a code change?
Yeah. All of it.
Okay. So so we have a code change for 2026, and like I say, that's why King James was covering it in his code change. I think it was like last week, and he demanded that I go make it the Myth of the Week. So I did it, made it happen. Appreciate everyone, making it happen for us. He didn't deduct my pay this time. I wasn't late, so I don't get my pay deducted, and I should get like a bonus or something, but my bonus is I don't get deducted because I'm late next time. So that's pretty cool. I like you. You're being gracious. You're being very humble on that. So I appreciate it. But like I say, I always have fun doing these. Means a lot. As always, remember, make every day an easy day. I'm out.
Peace, everybody. We'll see y'all next Thursday.